from Eastern region. I'm sure you have followed it from the media. We've been to Western, North, Ahafo, Bono East. We're in Northeast. And he has insisted with a strong faith in God that without God, we cannot do much. When we say it is possible because of God. And we always do emphasis. You see, we are politicians. And politicians, at times when you are talking, people think all that you are doing because of votes. But please, in the presence of men and women of God, this is something we believe in. Because that's the foundation of our party. And our leader believes it. That just as the MP for Damango said, that communion of our faith and in the spirit, we shall agree and we shall ask for your prayers and for your counsel and for your direction for this campaign. Because whatever we seek to do, by God's grace, to govern, is to take care of the welfare of the flock of which God has also put you in charge. We know that you don't only deal with the spiritual needs of your flock. I'm sure just as at times we pay school fees, you also, I'm sure your members come to you and you pay school fees. When members who are ill and they are in hospital, you help pay some of their hospital bills. So we have a common objective. But when we talk about our work together and the whole principle of democratic governance, we know, and you know it better, you are the theologians, we know the foundations of democracy, democratic practice, representative governance, where people are taken to take care of people, God's children. We say the foundation is in the scriptures. In Exodus chapter 18, when Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, visited him, after they have crossed the Red Sea, and he was counseling the people, he said, hey, Moses, what is it that you are doing? You cannot take care of all the people. Find people. And he said, able people. People who fear God. People who love the truth. People who hate covetousness. Put them in charge of 50, 100, 1,000. And when it is beyond them, then they will come back to you. This is what Jethro told Moses. So democratic governance, representative governance, it's not by Pluto or Socrates, although the foundation is in the scriptures. And again, when you come to the New Testament, in Acts chapter 1, from 20 going, when Judas fell out, the Lord should have said, this is the name. He said, no. There should be elections. And before they cast the lot, they prayed, the apostles prayed, Lord, who knows the hearts of men? Between Matthias and Barsabbas, select one for us. One who be able, one who fear God and serve God. So we are convinced and convicted of it. And that's why we say there's that communion in the spirit. That what we seek to do is not just politics arranged by some philosophers. It has a foundation. Even to select one person to replace Judas, there was election. There was a ballot box. And they cast lot. But they prayed before and said, Lord, who knows the innermost hearts of men? And that's the prayer we seek from you. We are not here to say that, oh, please, go and campaign for us from your pulpit. No. We are saying that as we pray, God who knows the innermost hearts of men, God who loves his flock, God who knows what is good for his people, to help us select the right person. We strongly believe, and we strongly suggest to you that we believe that our leader, Dr. Bawumia, fits into that person. But you see, we live in the society that you know better. So much propaganda, so much negative thinking. The crowd, they are not always right. They are not always right. In all the Gospels, when it came to the point that Pilate said, "Shall I release Jesus to you or Barabbas to you?" What did they say? What did they say? They wanted who? Barabbas, the robber, the armed robber, the thief. They prefer him to Jesus. So the crowd, they are not always right. That is where the counsel, the discernment of the men and women of God is important. That you can guide our people. So much propaganda. It's not about religion alone. It's not about tribe alone. We are looking for competence. Who can God use to save his people? Politics is pursuing policies and programs that will go to improve upon the conditions of life of the people. And we are saying, who can God use? We can't limit God. At any point in time, God can decide to use anybody to save and help his people. That is the God we serve. In Numbers 22, you know it better. In Numbers 22, you know it better. When Balaam was sitting on the ass, the horse, or the donkey, Balaam did not see the man of God standing in the way. It was the animal, the ass, who saw the angel of the Lord. And God made it possible for the animal, the ass, to speak to his master, to the master. That is God. Can we limit God? When it becomes necessary, he can even use an ass. In 1 Samuel 14:6, Jonathan, facing the Philistines, asked his armor bearer, who can restrain God for saving with few or many? You can't limit God. At any point in God, anybody who fears God and believes that his life is shaped by God and is prepared to fit into the will of God, to be of service to his people, that person, God will use that person. And so we cannot allow any negative propaganda to determine. No, we serve a living God who will determine at any point in time the person prepared, who has a good heart, who has good program. All wisdom is from God. Who has good ideas and who loves his people and has demonstrated it and is prepared to continue to commune with men and women of God. This assembly is not just for now. Our leader has directed that is something that by God's will and your prayers he is elected. He will continuously, regularly seek this communion and this fellowship with the men and women of God. It's going to be a regular practice of his government. And that's why we are here. We thank you again for your prayers and your patience. And at this juncture, that will invite the humble but firm, humble but forthright person God has endowed with so much knowledge, so much ideas, and is prepared to submit to the will of God to be of service to his people. Dr. Bawumia, to speak to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my campaign chairman. And if he was not into politics, he would have been a priest like all of you here. Thank you so much. Eminent clergy, my good friend, Bishop Peter Paul, the ministers of state and members of parliament, our national executives, our CEOs, my campaign team, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, men and women of God, I greet all of you. Good afternoon. It is really a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege to have the opportunity to talk to you this afternoon. I come before you as the presidential candidate and leader of the New Patriotic Party for the 2024 elections. I was elected as presidential candidate for the party in November of last year, 2023. And I have just begun my campaign tour. As my campaign chairman has told you, Western region, Western North, I've been to Bono and Bono East, Northeast, and today I'm in Savannah. And I have one clear understanding, and that is that it is only God who selects leaders. It is not men. It's only God who selects leaders. The good Bible says that unless the Lord builds the house, they will labor in vain, those that build it. And so that has always been a guiding principle. Because if you look at it, when I was contesting to become flag bearer and leader of the party, many people said it wasn't going to happen. They said the MPP has never chosen someone from the north to lead them. But I said, if it is the will of God, it will happen. It is possible. And we went for the election, and it is clearly the will of God. I was elected with the highest margin of any first-time candidate in the MPP. And the MPP, as you know, is not a predominantly Muslim party. It is a predominantly Christian party. But I stood, and I was a Muslim, and I was elected to become the leader. That tells you about the diversity within our party, and I believe the workings of God, because God can use anybody to change a society. Anybody. His ways are not our ways. And in the Bible, you know of the story of Cyrus and how God used Cyrus to help the people of Israel. That is very there. Cyrus was even not a believer in God. He did not know God, but God still used him. A friend of mine who is a priest jokingly asked me, he said, "Can anything good come out of Wale Wale?" And I said, yes, if it is the will of God, something good can come out of Wale Wale. And so this is the nature of my story. I was born into a family, very good family, loving family. My father, at the time my father was marrying my mother was a Christian at the time. So she had to convert to marry my father. She was one of those who were sent to Wesley girls in those early days. And my father as a whole had 17 surviving children. We are 17. But what is interesting about our family, he wasn't joking, right? 17 children, a football team with reserves. He had 17 children, but one of the interesting things about us is that 9 of us are Christian and 8 of us are Muslim. The same family. The same family. And so, as a boy, I was a member of the Methodist Boys Brigade. I was a strong member of the Methodist Boys Brigade in Sakasaka. And then, today, I am vice president, and I am also a patron of the Methodist Boys Brigade of Ghana today. So we are a very blessed country. Our country, Ghana, I believe, is very blessed. And we are blessed largely because of the religious tolerance that we have amongst the religions in Ghana. It's very special. Most of the time, we take it for granted. But in fact, that type of tolerance and acceptance of each other is unique to us. It is, for me, the heart of the peace that we enjoy in Ghana. Ghana is the most peaceful country in West Africa, and one of the most peaceful countries